All right, Shalom. Ka'alayim la Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakakwadash, which is the Paleo Hebrew for the one true name of the Heavenly Father being Yahweh, and that of the Messiah, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, being Yahushai. Those are the only names given among men whereby you must be saved, point blank, period, man. All right, as it is written, Acts 4:12. I'd like to give double honors unto the elders and the apostles at GMS Grand Millstone, and a sincere peace, love, blessing, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect out there doing the best to make the calling of their election sure. Lord willing, is edifying. As you see here, we got 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter and the 20th verse pulled up, which reads, "For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's." Right, so we are no longer living after our own flesh, man. We're no longer living after ourselves. We're no longer guided by the emptiness of our bellies, man. We're now guided through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and that's something that, that is easier said than done, man. Right? Your belly's always trying to lead you a particular way. Your flesh. Why Paul speaks about it in the Romans, the 7th chapter, man. All right, which is why, as he goes in on, we were given the law, so we know how to combat the flesh, man. All right, but nonetheless, right, we're no longer living for our own purposes, man. Right, like the book of Romans, the 6th chapter says, we're dead. That old man that you once were is dead. We're now living in the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Just as Yahushai was crucified, right, and raised, so we in the spirit were crucified and raised, man. And we're awaiting for the return of the Most High to fulfill that resurrection, so to speak, man. You see, we're resurrected once in the spirit, and now we're waiting to be for it to follow in the flesh, man. All right, Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones. Where do you see bodies literally come into life, man? It's talking in a spiritual sense, you see. But the fact being, man, that hey, we are that spiritual sacrifice. We are we've given up our lives in this world, right, as servants of man to serve Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, the one true living power, man. You see, it's like Emiliano Zapata said, I'd rather live on my feet and die on my knees, man, rather than live on my knees. Or no, Salakia. I think that I'd rather, let me go ahead and pull it up, man. Come on, here it is. I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And this is a quote that was said, right, upon being colonized and taken over by Esau, man. Well, now we're living at a point where we're all, we've all learned to live on our knees, man. But that's what as we went into previously in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, where it talks about worshiping the beast, that word worship breaks down into being at the knees of your master, man. In fact, let me go ahead and grab that real quick. All right, this is the book of Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15, just getting to the point. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." Right, and this is not ancient Babylon, like I've said, upon doing breakdowns of this chapter, right, of this verse in particular. This isn't ancient Babylon, man. Ain't nobody's gonna go worship a giant statue of Nebuchadnezzar, Donald Trump, whatever the case may be, man. Not even a Cesare, you see? But what they're doing is they're spiritually in worship of Esau, man. Right? And the reason I say that is because when we go into that word worship, which, I've done lessons breaking down all these words, many brothers have. But for the point of this lesson, right, we want to go into what this word worship means. All right? And equate it to what we just read about living on your knees, because that's basically, again, what the people of this world have done, man. They've learned to, the Israelites have learned to live as servants of Esau Edom, man. And we've, again, given up that life of a servant of Esau to serve Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. And yes, man, serve, right? Which means what? We're going to have we're gonna have well, like we're gonna get, man. You know, we're making spiritual sacrifices unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We are. We basically sacrificed ourselves in this world, man. Right? But anyway, let me go ahead and grab the point. Yeah, you see up here the root word etymology. It says to kiss like a dog licking his master's hand. You see that, man? To kiss like a dog licking his master's hand. And I'm pretty sure there was something about being on your knees, right? Used to show homage to men of superior rank. Prostrate to do homage or make obeisance, whether in order to express respect to make supplication. Here we go. Yeah, it says to fawn or crouch, literally or figuratively, prostrate oneself to homage, to reverence, adore, worship. You see? So again, that's what Jake has done, man. They've learned how to be a servant of Esau, man. Where again, we've learned to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai and leave off our enemies, man. In fact, let me go ahead and grab a verse since I lost a lucky, man. I can't find it, but I'll put it, Lord willing, on the chat, or Lord willing, it'll come to mind during the lesson. But it goes along the lines of Israel leaving off the hand of him that oppressed us. All right, something along those words, man. Where the enemy who was afflicting us, man, we're beginning to leave from him. We're beginning to stop worshiping him, basically, man. All right, so we're just going into. But this is Luke chapter 14 and verse 26. It says, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brother and sisters, yeah, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Let's go ahead and read a little more on that, right? Because it's going to go in on verse 17. It's going to go a little bit better, or not better, but it's going to expound upon it a little more. Just like in verse 17, verse verse 27. It says, and whosoever doeth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. So, hey, you got to make your body a living sacrifice, man. You got to basically, we used to live after the affairs of this world, but now we've learned that, everything here is temporal, man. Everything here is temporal. And honestly, you occupying all your time in the affairs of this world, that's not going to defend you against the day of judgment, man. You see? That's not gonna keep you protected and covered, man. Right? We know that what covers you is Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and ultimately the grace given by Yahweh Shai, man. Right? Because the book of 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, right, it tells us that how right judgment comes, which is ultimately by sin, which we know Yahweh Shai overcame the law so that we could receive his grace, because none of us are perfect, right? But yet we strive for perfection, right? That doesn't give you liberty to be a bug out, to be of this world, man. Right? Again, we're dead to the world, right? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 26. It says, the sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law, right? So the sting of death, the instrument that brings forth death, is sin. It may have been in reality a bullet, a car, right? Maybe maybe you drowned or something, right? Water was the sting. No, but in reality, in truly what it was sin, man. Right? And again, right, we've been given the understanding how to combat sin, how to combat this flesh, right, which is the law. But Yahweh Shai ultimately is how we are able to overcome this flesh, right? It's not necessarily the law. The law was given so we know how the do's and don'ts of the Most High, but Yahweh Shai was given to give us the grace to get there, right? None of us could be perfect. Some of the laws are impossible to keep, man. For example, one that I like to mention is the having on one type of garment, man, one material. You see, that's a law in the Bible, man. And you may think these laws and what have you are weird, but modern science will still prove the relevancy and the power of these laws being kept, man. Right? To the point that, you could actually, get the scientific breakdown for the diseases and such that you get from eating unclean meats or whatever the case may be, committing sodomy, right? AIDS and what have you. But yet, the scriptures told us since the very beginning, as we read here, the sting of death is sin. It's not, right, the AIDS. It was the sin. It was the act of you committing sodomy, man. You see? And the strength of sin is the law. So that's how we strengthen ourselves against sin, is because we were given the do's and don'ts of the Most High. And again, ultimately, we atone for it through the blood of Yahushua, man. All right. But anyway, that was good on that Luke 14. So yeah, man, we got to pick up our cross. We got to serve, man. We got a job to do, right? We can't just sit here and be settled on our lees, because at the end of the day, man, Yahushua is coming and he's going to establish a kingdom. And you got to decide whether you're going to be put to death, or you're going to take part in this beautiful theocracy that's being set up upon the earth as we speak. This is Revelation chapter 3 and 11. It says, "Behold, I come quickly, hold fast which thou hast till I come, and let no man take thy crown." Right? Let nobody take your crown, man. Right? Because your woman's going to, especially your woman, man. Well, you see, women get jealous. They want to be put first, even before the Most High. And they won't admit it to you. Maybe some of them will. But they won't admit it to you, man. They typically won't even admit it to themselves. You see? But really, right, they want your time to be occupied in them. But hey, our time is occupied in these scriptures, man. And we have to go to our day-to-day, our work, right? We have to do these things, right? So that's why it's a balance that we got to do, man. And sometimes we feel ourselves teetering one way or another, and we got to keep that balance on point, man, so that we know that we're serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua. In fact, the book of Matthew tells us, which I have pulled up on one of these scriptures. Yeah, here it is. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33. It says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." So we've been given the cheat codes, man. All we got to do is seek the Heavenly Father, and then everything is going to be added unto us, man. We don't got to bug out and worry and panic. And no, the Most High is going to handle business, man, because that's the power that we serve. Matthew 16 and verse 23, it says, "But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, If any man come after me, let him deny himself." So you got to deny yourself, man. You got to deny your flesh. You got to deny your belly, man. It says, "And take up his cross." So you got to get to work, man. You got to make sacrifices. You got to basically work at yourself, chisel at yourself, man. Like the scriptures say, man, it's better to enter into the kingdom, right, with one leg than two. Not meaning you actually got to cut off your leg, but yeah, spiritually speaking, we are going to cut off things in this flesh, man. All right? Again, spiritually speaking, we're not going to harm ourselves. Esau, turn around and get you thrown in the paddy wagon. Hey, because you see, man, at the end of the day, the Most High gave us all the answers, right? And he even, hey, man's goings to the Lord, how can then a man understand his own way, right? So he even set up the Esau's law system around us being able to prophesy and push this truth, to do this work, man. And here you are not wanting to do it. With great labor, the Most High put it together, and you would rather be settled at your lees, man. Again, we all have a choice, which ultimately, again, man's goings to the Lord, so it's not really our choice, but your actions are going to solidify where you are, man. All right? Verse 24, it says, or verse 25, "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it." Right? If you want to save your life in this world, you're going to lose it, man. The Most High is letting us know right here and now, man. It says, "And whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it." So you got to lose your life for the sake of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Not for the sake of your woman, because hey, what's your woman going to do as soon as all hell breaks loose? What did Job's woman do? Told him to curse the Most High and die. Ain't that a damn, man? Hey, she gonna go run into the next highest bidder, man. Knowing damn well that you threw in all your tokens for her rather than the Most High. And she's still going to go run to the highest bidder, man. You mark my words, man. You mark my words. We must put in our tokens in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, man. You know, yes, it's nice to have your woman and what have you, but hey, at the end of the day, man, everything here is temporal. The Most High will do something to solidify that in your eyes, man. To let you know how temporal it is. You see? So, hey, we're putting our tokens in what actually matters, man. This is Matthew chapter 16 and verse 25. It says, "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it." Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. All right, which, you know, this one just hits the nail on the head right here, man. "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice." So by the mercies of the Most High, we are able to present our bodies a living sacrifice. We are able to raise up and be those vessels, right, that went from dead to alive in Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones, man. It says that you may present your bodies a living sacrifice. You see, that's what we are, man. Our bodies are a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. So that's our reasonable service, man. It's a reasonable service for you to make your body a living sacrifice. You see? This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 11. It says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death." Right? They loved not their lives.